Welcome back to the next part in this epic adventure and following the snow all the way across to Dargo, or Billy Goat's Bluff track. And now we're heading down to the Barkley River, and this is just on the side of Mount Skene and just after Mount Sunday, which we've just done in the last three parts. It's just so spectacular just driving the bush like this when there's just so much snow covering everything. It really is just an awesome sight. And the different colours too, you'll see later on through here, when the sun starts to come through, we get down a bit lower out of this blizzard sort of stuff. Just how epic some of this footage is. It's really surprised me going back through it to edit. It looks fantastic. It's just, you just don't see it all the time like this. And between the drone and the in-car footage, it just looks wild. It started to set in and snow again about 9 AM. Started to get really thick. I'd actually lost the microphone off the jacket I was wearing, so the sound started to drop in and out between the Bluetooth on the microphone and the actual camera itself, which is a bit of a pain. The DJI camera, the DJI microphone's got a magnetic clip, and it's pretty much useless for what I do here. In and out of the car all the time, cleaning snow. It was just so thick driving through it here, as you could see, and the weight of the snow and all the branches dragging them into the inside of the track. The biggest pain was that it just kept covering the windscreen all the time and you had to get out and clear it. But the other pain was that I couldn't get the handheld camera out the side of the window for a clear outside shot, but it's actually not too bad for how the conditions were at the time. It's just so different driving the tracks like this, and especially this track, which is getting overgrown as it is. You can see they've got the markers out. They're going to bulldoze this soon. But because it's overgrown with the snow on it, it's very unusual to be, poking about on them and seeing them in this way, as opposed to being up on, the bigger main roads, Jefferson, McCullough Road, Howard High Plains Road, and all those roads up around that way where there's snow. They're big, open and wide. As you can imagine, anyone that owns a TDI Land Rover or has owned one know that it's pretty hard to get them hot at the best of times. Even in the middle of summer, you can drive them around without the fan on them and they won't, go over normal temperature. They're quite well cooled from the factory, especially if the radiator's clean. I've heard a lot of people whinge about them overheating, but they never clean the radiator. But when the radiator's clean, you can run them without the fan. But the problem was out here was because we're only in low revs and it was pretty easy going downhill. You can see the temperature gauge there, it's still sitting on the bottom. There was no heat coming out of that heater, which was a real pain. But also you can see from all the puddles that it must have only snowed. It hadn't been that cold here for a long time because there's no ice in the top of them. So I think it only snowed down here the night before as well. It hadn't been snowing long down here. And there's the wipers holding hands again. It was that cold I couldn't have been bothered getting the tools out to tighten up the nut on the wiper arm. And yeah, I just kept driving till it got a bit warmer. Made it really hard for flying the drone in these conditions, because not only was it blocking the sensors just by being so thick, it was also pretty wet, and there was big chunks of snow falling off the trees up further, so there was a good chance of it getting down. So a lot of this stuff up higher, I didn't get any drone footage at all, but a bit further down the road here, it's pretty spectacular drone footage coming through the bush with it like this. I come this way off the side of Mount Skene rather than heading down the Jamison-Lacolla Road, just for something a bit different, heading across the Bull Plain Road and down through Lacolla North. But it ended up being a really big adventure heading down this way, that's for sure. It would have been pretty straightforward going and I would have been in Lacolla in no time if I had went up to Mount Skene and then down the Jamison-Lacolla Road. But heading over this way and down into the Barkly River Valley, back out the other side to Bull Plain, it was just treacherous as well because it had been raining in that valley as well as the snow for the last day or so. And anyone that knows that valley, there's both sides of it, the Barkly River there's a lot of topsoil in the tracks there. There's very little rocks, so it's very, very slippery. So being on road tyres coming out of there, it was just crazy. Even coming down into Barkly River, it was wild. It was sliding into great big water erosion ruts, and I was pretty glad some of them were there because the only way it stopped me from going off the side of the road and down into the bush. Most of this is just fresh powder, just recently fell through this area in the last couple of hours. It was very, very light. The build-up was just crazy. Didn't matter how much snow was in front of that radiator, the bloody thing wouldn't warm up. That's for sure. Just struggled the whole time trying to get some heat into the car. The reason I wanted to come across this way and head across to Dargo, or the other side of Dargo, is that I wanted to do Orton's track, and all of this snow and everything in between was really unexpected. Even coming down at night down Billy Goats, the top part, the really steep part, was snow. That was really unexpected. Driving down there, trying to stop the back from sliding around the front, and knowing that all you could see is just dark on there. You know, it was just black off the side, but the lights were shining on the road. But you knew there was nothing off the edge there. It was just straight down into the valley. So that was a bit dicey. But unfortunately, I had to make that run because I had to wet swag from here, waking up in the snow. So, and yeah, the sleeping bag got a bit wet as well, so I had to build a big fire down the bottom to dry the swag out, unfortunately. Looks really cool. Yeah, it's just blanketing all the ferns and everything through here. Really is spectacular. See that little bit of icy top on that water. Hasn't frozen over yet. Really getting down a bit now and out of the sleet, and the sun's starting to come through and bring out some of the colours as well. Really starts to look brilliant through here. Okay, it's starting to really clear up at this point here, so it was time to put the drone up and try and capture some footage from above. Bit of a slow start here, it's just taken off real easy, just getting the skills up a little bit, and yeah, it's quite cold, so the drones play up when in real cold weather due to the batteries, so just taking it easy to the start off with. Just gives it a really great perspective being up above it with the snow on the ground and through the trees. It just really looks brilliant. Started to snow on and off again, heading down to this next junction. And we had some pretty big stuff falling off from up above in the trees as well, which was a bit of a obstacle for the drone. But it was definitely well worth taking the risk and putting it up. I just couldn't believe how good this looked, with the snow blanketing the enclosed area of the forest. And it just shows again, like we need any reminder of how lucky we are in Victoria to have this huge playground with just so many different variations of four-wheel driving, and to be able to come out here and do something like this, it's just sensational. Most people have probably seen the posts from parks that they've closed certain tracks early, like Blue Rag and ones around that area. And that's, I think, going to be a sign of things to come because of the last couple of seasons of people getting out there and just running amok in the snow, rolling vehicles over and calling the rescue services and having everybody out there in the blizzard conditions. You know what the authorities are going to do. They're just going to stop everyone from doing it, which is a real pain. It's not like we haven't had the snow like this before and the conditions. It's been like that forever. But we've just been able to control ourselves a lot more than what's been happening in the last couple of years. And the low budget 4B has just proved itself once again in all these conditions on this trip. We're still around the $8,500, $9,000 mark. We're well and truly under the 10 grand still. And the vehicle's very capable, and there's really nothing I wouldn't have a crack at with it. Starting to get some very close calls now with the drone because of the cold and the big chunks playing up with the LiDAR and the obstacle sensing. Just starting to be too many things going on for it. One of the telltale signs with it is that it refuses to take some of the input when you're putting it in, that's when it's really time to pack it up, because you'll be crashing. But it was hard to pack it up when the footage was just so full on, just crazy. I was really starting to wonder at this point here what it was going to be like when I got down towards the Barkly River. I mean, I knew it was going to be slippery on that muddy sort of surface, but if the snow had got down that far, it was going to be real tricky. I was actually thinking about heading across through Butcher Country and up Dingo Hill and across to the Howard High Plains Road that way. I didn't really need to head down to Lacolla, but I just figured it was just going to be quicker going through Lacolla. And I'd recently just been up Butcher Country. If I hadn't, I probably would have definitely went that way. But this is another great trip for the Discovery. So this was a full tank trip. So I drove from Seymour out, done Mount Sunday, across through Barkley River, across to Lacolla, out the Maroka Road, and then done a couple of trips up and down Billy Goats for filming. Then from there into Dargo, went out to Orton's Track, and then from there went up to the cutting and the back way over to Blue Rag. Went right down the river and back and had lunch on Blue Rag, and then headed out to Bright, and then took the highway back home, all on a tank of fuel. There really is nothing like these 300 TDIs. Such an efficient engine. I mean, one of the biggest things is having enough fuel to get out and do the big trips. From here I'm going to turn left and down Mount Nash and to the Barkley River and across that way. All to come in the next episode. I really hope you enjoyed that spectacular look at the snow and that snow drive from up there at Mount Sunday.